Bible Study 1711, where we receive the Word eagerly and examine the Scriptures. My name is Todd, and I'm just a layman pulling from a stack of study Bibles and a list of lectures, seeking to understand and apply God's Word. Today we're studying Psalm 1. Some background on the book of Psalms. With 150 chapters, it's the largest book in the Bible. It has numerous authors, and some psalms aren't attributed to a specific writer. King David wrote close to half of the Psalms during his lifetime. The book of Psalms is a collection of poetry and songs. The writers reflect on a wide range of emotions and experiences, feeling the ups and downs of life, shouting praises to God, feeling abandoned by God, joy and sorrow, peace and victory. The book is a wide collection of people reflecting on their experiences with God. Psalm 1 serves as a gate into the entire book. It shows that those who worship God will genuinely embrace His law, the covenant, and will seek to follow His instructions. The author of this psalm isn't listed. Now let's read Psalm 1. How happy is the one who does not walk in the advice of the wicked, or stand in the pathway with sinners, or sit in the company of mockers. Instead, his delight is in the Lord's instruction, and he meditates on it day and night. He is like a tree planted beside flowing streams that bears its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers. The wicked are not like this. Instead, they are like chaff that the wind blows away. Therefore, the wicked will not stand up in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to ruin. The word happy in this psalm means having a sense of joy and satisfaction, no matter the circumstances we're in. This kind of joy comes from trusting the Lord and being obedient to Him. It's a joy that a person finds when they are in good standing with God. Some translations use the word blessed instead of happy. It's the same meaning, to be happy or full of joy. It's more than just a fleeting feeling of happiness. It's a constant joy that comes with a right relationship with God. Jesus uses the Greek equivalent of this word in the Beatitudes, which we'll dive into in a future study. The same Greek word for happy is used in the book of James. Consider it all joy, or happiness, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials. James 1:2. The author of this psalm writes about avoiding the advice of the wicked. The wicked here would refer to those who don't believe in God or those who live in disobedience to Him. The advice of the wicked refers to the views on spiritual matters such as ethics and moralities, as well as a view on what it means to be faithful to God. The author warns about being in the pathway with sinners or sitting in the company of mockers. This is talking about those who refuse to follow God's lead and those who reject His covenant. Verse 2 talks about the Lord's instruction. Side note, Lord is spelled in all capitals. We'll get into this when we cover Exodus chapter 3, but when you see Lord spelled this way in the Old Testament, it's a substitution for God's personal name, Yahweh or Jehovah. The Jewish writers had such a reverence for God's name, they wouldn't write it. To quote one of my favorite Christian rap groups, the Cross Movement, it's transliterated Lord, all caps. Anyway, the Lord's instruction. The word would be translated as law, but it's better understood as teaching or instruction. It speaks of the revelation of God's will for His people rather than just a list of rules to follow or a list of judicial decisions. The writer talks about meditating on the Lord's instruction day and night. The word meditating here means to concentrate on something so that you can understand it. It describes pondering on God's word, not just reading it, but thinking about it. It's wrapping our hearts and minds around God's word, which leads to becoming more spiritually stable and to grow in character. The phrase meditate on it day and night is used in Joshua 1:8. The call was to integrate the Lord's instruction into who Joshua is and what he does. It was a call to have the Lord's instructions on his mind so much that they influenced his actions. We see the same call here in Psalm 1. Day and night points to believers facing every situation, whether big or small, with a view that is pleasing to God by knowing and following His word. I found this quote, "If you want to follow God more closely, you must take time to know what He says." This psalm talks about a tree being planted by flowing streams. Even in a dry climate, a tree will thrive if it's near a constant supply of water. Being close to the water doesn't only keep the tree alive, the tree will bear fruit. And the fruit that comes from a tree is for others, not for the tree itself. Verse 3 says that whatever he does prospers. This psalm lays out a principle, not a guarantee for material success. The ancient Hebrews didn't limit success to financial gain. Success could also be a good reputation and community respect. For the righteous, success wasn't seen in how much they owned, but in how they experienced God's blessings on their words and deeds. When a faithful person prospers, they succeed in bringing benefits to others. Verse 4 talks about the wicked. The translation for this word is a general term for an unbeliever. It's someone who is living outside of obedience to God. The psalmist writes that the wicked will be like the chaff that the wind blows away. Chaff is the leftover parts of wheat once it's been harvested. It's stems, leaves, and husks. The chaff dries up and is blown away by the wind, cleansing the field. I picture this like a tumbleweed rolling by in a western scene. This is being contrasted to a living, healthy, fruitful tree from earlier in the psalm. The author writes that the wicked will not stand. The idea of standing is being able to remain or survive during a time of judgment. Some people only tie this to a final judgment, but it can also read as being God's judgment in this life or in the future. Verse 5 mentions the assembly of the righteous. The word for righteous translates to someone within the covenant who seeks to be faithful to God. They're not sinless, but their goal is to keep a right relationship with God. This makes me think of Romans 7, which we'll dive into in the future. Psalm 1 concludes with, "For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to ruin." It shows the outcome of two ways of life: God's protection for the righteous and disaster or ruin for the wicked. Thanks for joining Bible Study 1711. Let's receive the word with eagerness and examine the scriptures daily.